Williams driver Alex Albon had an exciting Australian Grand Prix, starting the race last on the grid and finishing 10th to score his first points for Williams. In this video, we will look at some of the F1 rules and regulations that impacted Alex in Australia. Let's get started. Albon technically qualified in 16th place for the Australian Grand Prix, but ended up starting the race in last position. Let's take a look at how this happened. Alex was first hit with a 3-place grid penalty for causing a collision with Lance Stroll at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. His collision with Stroll caused damage to his tires and he was unable to complete that race. If you're a new fan to Formula 1, this is a good point to note. The FIA can review an incident that happens during the current race and enforce penalties for the upcoming race. In this case, Alex was given a 3-place grid penalty in the Australian Grand Prix for causing a collision in the previous race. His luck continued to get worse in Australia. During the first qualifying session, Albon stopped on the track instead of returning to the pits after failing to make Q2. When the car was moved back to the pits, Williams was unable to provide the required 1-liter fuel sample to the FIA as dictated by Article 6.5.2 in the technical regulations. This meant that Alex was disqualified from qualifying and had to start in last place. This was not the worst outcome since he was slated to start 19th due to his initial penalty. Let's break down Article 6.5.2 and understand its implication. This rule states, competitors must ensure that a 1-liter sample of fuel may be taken from the car at any time during the competition. The FIA has other rules which makes it easy for them to acquire this sample. For example, Article 6.5.3 requires that cars be fitted with equipment that facilitates the removal of fuel from the car. If a team is not able to provide the required sample, they are disqualified from the session. Sometimes this penalty can be quite harsh. Aston Martin driver Sebastian Vettel was disqualified from the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix after finishing the race second because the team could not comply with 6.5.2. Similar to Albon, he had stopped on the track after the race instead of going back to the pits. Now let's look at Albon's race performance. He started the Australian Grand Prix with the hard tire and drove an incredible 57 laps before pitting on the last lap for fresh tires. He finished the race in 10th place. If you're new to Formula 1, you might have been wondering why he didn't just finish the race on the tires he had started on. He was still going quick and would have finished in 7th rather than 10th. To answer this question, we have to understand F1 pit stop rules. Formula 1 requires that a driver use at least 2 compounds of tires during the race. This implies that each driver must take at least 1 pit stop and must change the compound during this pit stop. Albon in this case started on the hard tire and switched to the soft tire before the end of the race. Hope this video helped you learn about Formula 1 rules and regulations. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video and consider subscribing to the channel for more great Formula 1 content.